Hello, my name is Jimin, and I am excited to present our work, Counterspeakers Perspectives, Unveiling Barriers and AI Needs in the Fight Against Online Hate. This work was done in collaboration with researchers from Carnegie Mellon University, Arizona State University, and an NGO Dangerous Speech Project, which studies dangerous speech and ways to counteract it. Counterspeech is defined as direct responses against hate speech. In our work, we focus on online counterspeech, which has multiple benefits compared to censorship-based response. It can be used to provide a more flexible response, especially toward covert hate speech. It can also correct stereotypes and spread misinformation, and can also build community, especially supporting those who are targeted. Counterspeech can use various strategies, such as humor and empathy, and diverse modalities from text to images. However, we focus mainly on text-based responses in our work. It can also be done individually or as part of a larger group using hashtags such as I am here, Black Lives Matter, Me Too, and Stop Asian Hate. AI-assisted counterspeech has also been gaining interest to utilize counterspeech to respond to increasing amount of online hate in a more scalable way, as counterspeech can take more effort from the users. These efforts include counterspeech generation, analysis, and detection. However, these works did not actually take into account the types of support counterspeakers or online social media users need from AI assistance. Therefore, in this work, we aim to answer how AI can help counterspeaking. To answer this question, we ask three questions. First, what are the barriers to counterspeech? Second, what AI tools, if any, can lower these barriers? And third, what are the concerns of using AI tools? To get a comprehensive answer to these questions, we gather responses from two groups, those who have been more heavily involved in counterspeech, and another group to model everyday online users who have varying degrees of counterspeech experience. We conducted an interview with the 10 more heavily involved counterspeakers denoted IP throughout our talk, recruited through our collaboration with the Dangerous Speech Project. 5 of the counterspeakers were based in the US, and others are based in Canada, Ethiopia, Cameroon, France, and Australia. Survey participants denoted SP were recruited from MTurk and have varying degree of counterspeech experience. Both the structured interviews and survey consisted of two parts. First, targeting experiences with hate speech and counterspeech, and second, about usage of AI tools and concerns. The two groups were asked slightly different questions, and the survey was built off of interview responses. The participant answers were then analyzed using open coding for open text questions and interviews, and quantitative analysis for the remaining survey questions. From participants' responses, we inductively surfaced a theory of counterspeaking process and motivation. At each part of the process, AI also made an impact. Counterspeech started with an intrinsic motivation of moral duty. As captured by the quote, counterspeakers engaged because they were standing up for what they believed in. Counterspeaking process could largely be divided into 3 steps: deciding to respond, formulating a response, and posting an aftermath. There were barriers at each step of the process, including limited resources, lack of training, unclear impact, and personal harms. There was also extrinsic motivation of positive impact, to help those who are impacted by hate speech. As seen earlier, one of the barriers to counterspeech was limited resources. Participants discussed how counterspeech involved time investment. Another common theme included lack of training, not knowing how to say what they wanted to say, or not knowing what to say at all. One of the most commonly selected barriers to counterspeech was unclear impact, as captured by this quote that the participant did not know whether the person who wrote the hate speech was an actor or a bot. Participants also mentioned personal harms, especially to mental health, as related by the quote that the pushback was getting to them. Each barrier could be positively impacted by assistive tools through reduced efforts such as efficiency in finding hate speech, guidance through training people on how to build a campaign, increasing impact through amplifying counterspeech, and finally redirecting personal harms by making the process less stressful. AI tools could also be categorized into common types of support, such as empowerment to help someone speak up more, emotional support to help counterspeakers remain composed, and factual support to pull in articles to prove a point or correct misinformation. When asked in a multiple-choice setting, survey participants preferred factual support when asked about collaborative tools. Similarly, they preferred factual support from the bots as well. However, participants also had overarching concerns of loss of authenticity and agency around AI assistance for counter-speech. As shown through the quote, participants valued authenticity and wanted the counter-speech to come from them as it is something they stand up for and think is important to their personality and morality. Agency was also an important concern as counter-speech helped them feel less hopeless and helpless. Participants also conveyed functionality doubts on whether AI could actually have the intended positive effects. Participants discussed how AI is often wrong and biased, lacks empathy compared to humans, and is trained on Western data and is not extendable to other cultures. These points are supported also by various literature in AI and NLP. In conclusion, our work highlighted the process of online counterspeech as possible AI tools to lower the barriers, but also emphasized the concerns of using AI tools. To navigate the concerns and build tools to help counterspeaking, we lay out a few points of consideration. First thing to consider for AI counterspeech tool would be how to preserve authenticity. Some possible considerations for this would be disclosure policies and AI tools that could help with AI-generated text detection. Second would be how to cultivate moral agency. Here, design choices to reduce over-reliance and creating customizable tool could be helpful. Another important consideration would be to protect mental health. Design is focusing on empathetic conversations while communicating authentic emotion and encouraging mindfulness could be helpful. Additional tools could include educational tools, bot detection, and online safety tools. In future works, participatory designs to build tools that incorporate these suggestions should be explored. Finally, we would like to thank our interview and survey participants and many others who supported our work.